Jake Miller wiped the sweat from his face and looked at the broken mining drill in front of him. The drill had stopped working 3 hours ago, and the other workers were getting angry. They needed this machine to keep digging for rare metals in the asteroid belt. "Can you fix it or not?" asked Lisa Park, the station chief. She was a tough woman who ran Kepler 7 mining station with a firm hand. 200 people lived and worked on this small space station, and they all depended on machines like this drill to make money. Jake picked up his tools and smiled. "Give me 20 minutes, he said. He had been fixing machines since he was a kid back on Earth. His father taught him that every broken thing could work again if you understood how it was supposed to move. The mining station floated near a big asteroid field, far from Earth and the other human worlds. Most people thought it was a boring place to work, but Jake liked it here. The machines were old but simple. When something broke, he could usually figure out what was wrong and make it work again. Jake opened the drill's metal cover and looked inside. The problem was easy to see. A small gear had cracked and metal pieces were stuck in the moving parts. He pulled out the broken gear and cleaned out all the metal bits. Then he went to his workshop to make a new gear from spare parts. While Jake worked on the gear, Tony Rodriguez came to watch. Tony was the head of maintenance, and he was always amazed at how Jake could fix anything. "How do you do it?" Tony asked. "The manual says we need to order a new gear from Earth. That would take 6 months to get here." Jake held up the gear he was making. "The manual tells you the right way to do things, but sometimes the right way takes too long. This gear will work just as well as the original one." Jake finished the new gear and went back to the drill. He put it in place and started the machine. The drill hummed to life and began working perfectly. "Amazing," said Lisa. "You just saved us half a year of waiting and a lot of money." Jake was cleaning his tools when the station's alarm started ringing. The sound meant that something unusual was happening outside the station. Everyone stopped working and looked around nervously. "All workers report to the main hall," Lisa's voice came over the speakers. "We have detected a large object in Sector 7. Jake followed the other workers to the main hall. Lisa was standing in front of a big screen that showed the space around their station. On the screen, they could see something that made everyone gasp. A huge ship was floating near one of the big asteroids. But this was not like any human ship Jake had ever seen. It was long and curved like a living thing. The hull looked like it was made of crystal, and lights moved along its surface like blood flowing through veins. "It's not responding to our radio calls," said Lisa, "and it's not moving. I think it might be damaged." Jake stared at the strange ship. It was beautiful but also frightening. Humans had never met aliens before, though many people believed they existed somewhere in the galaxy. "What should we do?" asked Tony. "We follow space law," said Lisa. "Any ship in trouble gets help no matter who owns it." Jake stepped forward. "I'll go take a look," he said. "Are you crazy?" asked Tony. "That's an alien ship. We don't know if it's safe." "Someone might be hurt over there," Jake said. "If it was us in trouble, we would want someone to help." Lisa thought for a moment. "Take a small shuttle and be very careful. Don't go inside unless you're sure it's safe." Jake put on his spacesuit and climbed into one of the station's small ships. His heart was beating fast as he flew toward the alien vessel. This was the most exciting thing that had ever happened to him. As he got closer, Jake could see that the ship was really damaged. Part of the crystal hull was cracked, and some of the moving lights had stopped working. The ship was much bigger than it looked from the station. It was at least 10 times longer than the biggest human ship. Jake found what looked like a door and managed to make it open. Inside, the ship was full of soft blue light. The walls seemed to be alive with patterns that moved slowly like waves on water. He walked through long hallways until he found what must be the control room. And there, lying on the floor, was the alien. Jake had never seen anything like it. The being was tall and thin, with silver skin that seemed to shine in the blue light. It had 4 arms and a long neck. Its head was larger than a human head, with big eyes that were closed now. Jake checked for signs of life the way he had learned in safety training. The alien was breathing, but very slowly. It seemed to be unconscious, but alive. Near the alien's hand was a small device that was blinking with red lights. Jake picked it up carefully. Suddenly, words appeared in the air in front of him, written in English. Emergency translation protocol activated, the words said. I am Ambassador Veltar of the Zephyrian Empire. My ship has suffered engine failure. I carry medicine to save millions of lives on my homeworld. Please help. Jake looked around the control room. Many of the lights were red or not working at all. The ship was clearly in bad shape. But Jake had spent his whole life fixing broken machines. Maybe, just maybe, he could fix this one too. He activated his radio to call back to the station. Lisa, I found the pilot. It's alive but hurt. The ship is damaged, but I think I can help. Be careful, Jake. Lisa's voice crackled through the radio. We're sending Tony with medical supplies. Jake looked at the alien ship's broken systems and felt the same feeling he always got when he saw a machine that needed fixing. It didn't matter that this machine was built by aliens using technology he had never seen before. A broken machine was a broken machine. He rolled up his sleeves and got to work. Jake spent the next hour looking at the alien ship's broken systems. Everything was strange and different from human technology, but he started to see patterns. The ship used crystals that glowed with energy, and these crystals were connected by tubes that looked like plant roots. Tony arrived with medical supplies and helped Jake move the unconscious alien to a more comfortable position. The alien's breathing got a little stronger, but it still did not wake up. This is impossible, Tony said, looking at the alien technology. How are we supposed to fix something we don't understand? Jake was examining a large crystal that had several cracks running through it. Look at this, he said. This crystal is broken and the energy can't flow through it properly. It's like a broken wire in our machines. But it's not a wire, Tony said. It's some kind of alien crystal. Broken is broken, Jake said. The energy needs to flow from one place to another. If I can fix these cracks, maybe the energy will flow again. Jake went back to his shuttle and brought over some of his tools. He had an idea, but he wasn't sure if it would work. He took out a small laser cutter that he used to repair metal parts. Very carefully, he used the laser to heat the edges of the cracks in the crystal. The crystal started to glow brighter, and slowly, the cracks began to close. It was like welding metal, but with crystal. I can't believe that worked, said Tony, watching the crystal heal itself. Jake moved to the next broken system. This one was harder to understand. It looked like a computer, but it was made of something that looked like living tissue. There were tiny threads that pulsed with light, but many of them were dark and still. This looks like a brain, Tony said, looking nervous. It's a biological computer, Jake said. He had read about such things in science books, but no human had ever built one. The ship's navigation system is alive. The problem was that part of the biological computer had died when the ship crashed. Jake couldn't bring dead tissue back to life, but maybe he could work around it. He went back to his shuttle again and brought back a small human computer. It was primitive compared to the alien technology, but Jake had an idea. You're going to connect our computer to the alien brain? Tony asked. Not connect, Jake said. I'm going to make our computer help the alien brain do its job. Jake spent several hours working on the connection. He had to be very careful not to damage the living parts of the alien system. Slowly, he managed to create a bridge between the human computer and the alien brain. When he turned on the human computer, the alien navigation system started working again. The human computer was doing the simple calculations, while the alien brain handled the complex parts. This is crazy, Tony said. You just made human and alien technology work together. The alien, Veltar, finally woke up while Jake was working on the third broken system. The ambassador sat up slowly and looked around with large, dark eyes. You are humans, Veltar said through the translation device. The voice was soft and musical. Yes, Jake said, not stopping his work. Your ship is badly damaged. I'm trying to fix it. Veltar watched Jake work for several minutes without saying anything. Finally, the alien spoke again. What you are doing should not be possible. Human technology is primitive. How can you repair Zephyrian systems? Jake looked up from the machine he was fixing. Primitive doesn't mean useless. Sometimes simple solutions work better than complex ones. But you do not understand our science, Veltar said. I don't need to understand your science, Jake said. I understand machines. Your ship is a machine even if it's made differently than our machines. Jake showed Veltar what he was doing. The alien ship's engines used crystals that vibrated at specific frequencies to create power. But the crystals had been knocked out of alignment when the ship crashed. Jake was using a simple technique he had learned fixing mining equipment. He hit the crystals gently with a small hammer, adjusting their position until they vibrated in harmony again. You are tuning our quantum crystals with a primitive hammer, Veltar said, sounding amazed. It works, doesn't it? Jake said. One by one, the ship's systems came back online. Jake fixed each problem using human tools and human techniques. Where Zephyrian engineers would have replaced entire systems, Jake found ways to repair what was already there. The most difficult problem was the ship's main engine. It was a complex system that used crystals, biological computers, and energy fields all working together. Several parts were damaged and they all depended on each other. Jake spent a whole day studying the engine before he understood how it worked. Then he spent another day carefully repairing each part. He used his laser to fix crystals, connected human computers to alien brains, and even used spare parts from mining equipment to replace broken components. This will never work, Veltar said, watching Jake connect a mining drill motor to the alien engine. Why not? Jake asked. Your engine needs something to pump energy through the system. This motor can do that job. When Jake finally activated the repaired engine, the whole ship came to life. Lights flickered on throughout the vessel and a gentle humming sound filled the air. Veltar was speechless. The ambassador walked through the ship, checking each system that Jake had repaired. Everything was working, and some systems were working better than before. How long would it take your people to make these repairs? Jake asked. With proper facilities and replacement parts, perhaps 3 months, Veltar said. Without them, it would be impossible. I did it in 4 days with spare parts and basic tools, Jake said. Veltar looked at Jake with something that might have been respect. You have given me my life back. More than that, you have saved millions of lives on my world. I must contact the Emperor immediately. The Emperor? Tony asked. Emperor Zalthek, ruler of the Zephyrian Empire, Veltar said. I carry medicine that will stop a terrible plague on our homeworld. Without this medicine, millions will die. Jake felt good, knowing that his work had helped save so many lives, but he was also starting to feel nervous. If Veltar was important enough to report directly to an emperor, then Jake had just helped someone very powerful. Will we get in trouble for helping you? Jake asked. Trouble? Veltar said. Human Jake Miller, you have done something that our greatest engineers said was impossible. The Emperor will want to thank you personally. As Veltar sent a message to the Zephyrian Empire, Jake continued to work on the ship's systems. He was making small improvements here and there, optimizing things that didn't really need to be fixed. He didn't know that his simple repairs had already changed everything. In a few hours, the most powerful ruler in this part of the galaxy would know about the human who could fix anything. Jake was putting the final touches on the ship's power system when Veltar received a reply to the message. The alien's silver skin changed color, becoming brighter and more reflective. The Emperor is coming, Veltar said, and the translation device made the alien's voice sound excited and nervous at the same time. Coming here? Tony asked. To our little mining station? Emperor Zalthek has ordered the Imperial fleet to this location. They will arrive in 6 hours, Veltar said. This is unprecedented. The Emperor has not left the capital world in 300 years. Jake felt his stomach drop. Is that good or bad? I do not know, Veltar admitted. You have done something remarkable, Jake Miller. The Emperor wants to see these repairs for himself. Back on Kepler 7 mining station, Lisa was trying to keep everyone calm. Word had spread quickly that aliens were coming, and not just any aliens, but an alien emperor with a fleet of warships. What if they want to take over our station? Asked one of the miners. What if they're angry that we interfered with their ship? Asked another. Lisa called Jake on the radio. "Jake, you need to get back here. People are starting to panic." "I can't leave yet," Jake said. "I'm still working on the ship's systems, and Veltar says the Emperor wants to see the repairs." "The Emperor?" Lisa's voice went up an octave. "Jake, what have you gotten us into?" "I just fixed a broken ship," Jake said. "How was I supposed to know it belonged to alien royalty?" When Jake returned to the mining station, he found all 200 workers gathered in the main hall. Everyone was talking at once, and the noise was almost overwhelming. "Listen, everyone," Lisa said loudly. "We're going to handle this the same way we handle everything else. We stay calm, we're polite, and we don't do anything stupid." "Easy for you to say," called out someone from the back. "You didn't fix the Emperor's ship." All eyes turned to Jake. He felt very uncomfortable being the center of attention. "I just did what anyone would do," he said. "Someone needed help, so I helped them." "But what do they want from us?" asked a worried-looking woman named Betty. "Veltar says the Emperor wants to thank me," Jake said. "I think that's a good thing." Furking. Hours later, the sensors detected the approaching fleet. What they saw on the screens made everyone gasp. The lead ship was enormous, bigger than some asteroids. It looked like a floating palace with tall spires and glowing energy fields that made it beautiful to look at. Behind the lead ship came 12 smaller vessels, but even these smaller ships were much larger than anything humans had ever built. "They could destroy our entire station with one shot," whispered Tony. "But they won't," said Jake, trying to sound more confident than he felt. "They're here to say thank you, not to hurt us." The huge ship stopped near the mining station, and a small shuttle came out of its docking bay. The shuttle was beautiful, with smooth curves and decorative patterns that seemed to move and change. "They're requesting permission to dock," said Lisa, looking at her control panel. "Give them permission," Jake said. "It's too late to run now." The poor alien shuttle docked with the mining station, and everyone held their breath. The airlock opened and Veltar stepped through, followed by 2 other aliens that Jake had never seen before. These new aliens were different from Veltar. They were shorter and more muscular, with dark blue skin and patterns of scales that covered their arms and faces. They wore what looked like armor, but it was decorated with beautiful designs. "These are Imperial Guards," Veltar explained. "They are here to ensure the Emperor's safety." Then the Emperor himself stepped through the airlock. Emperor Zalthek was the most impressive being Jake had ever seen. He was nearly 8 feet tall, with scales that shifted from deep purple to bright gold as he moved. His eyes were large and dark, and they seemed to hold ancient wisdom. He wore robes that looked like they were made of liquid starlight. Every human in the docking bay dropped to one knee, not sure what else to do when meeting an alien emperor. Jake started to kneel too, but the Emperor spoke. "Jake Miller," the Emperor said, and his voice was deep and powerful. "Rise. I would see the human who accomplished the impossible." Jake stood up slowly, his legs feeling weak. "Your Majesty," he said, not sure if that was the right way to address an alien emperor. Emperor Zalthek walked around Jake, looking at him carefully. "You are smaller than I expected," the Emperor said, "and you have no special tools or unusual knowledge. Yet you repaired my personal ship in ways that confound our greatest engineers." "I just fixed what was broken," Jake said. "Just fixed," the Emperor repeated. "Veltar has shown me recordings of your work. You used primitive tools to repair quantum crystal matrices. You connected mechanical devices to biological computers. You made improvements to systems that our designers spent centuries perfecting." The Emperor walked over to Lisa. "You are the leader of this station?" "Yes, Your Majesty," Lisa said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Your subordinate has done something that should have been impossible. Our ship's engines are now running at 112% efficiency. The navigation system responds faster than ever before. The power distribution network has been optimized in ways we never considered." Emperor Zalthek turned back to Jake. "How do you explain this?" Jake thought for a moment. "Your people built amazing technology," he said, "but maybe because it's so advanced you forgot that simple solutions sometimes work better than complex ones." "Give me an example," the Emperor said. Jake pointed to his toolbox. You see that hammer? It's just a piece of metal on a stick. It's the simplest tool humans ever made. But I used it to tune your quantum crystals because sometimes hitting something gently in the right place works better than any fancy adjustment device. The Emperor's scales shifted to a brighter gold color. Fascinating. Our engineers would never consider using such a crude instrument on delicate quantum matrices. That's why it worked, Jake said. You can't break quantum crystals by hitting them gently. I've broken plenty of regular crystals with hammers, so I knew how hard I could hit without causing damage. Emperor Zalthek spent the next hour examining every repair that Jake had made to Veltar's ship. He asked detailed questions about each technique, and Jake explained his reasoning for every modification. The Emperor's guards and advisors followed behind, taking notes and recording everything. Jake could tell they were amazed by what they were seeing, even though they tried to hide it. This hybrid computer system, the Emperor said, looking at Jake's connection between human and alien technology. How did you know it would work? I didn't, Jake admitted. But the alien computer needed help with simple calculations, and our computer is good at simple calculations. So I made them work together. You experimented with technology you did not understand, risking damage to irreplaceable systems, said one of the Emperor's advisors. It was already broken, Jake said. The worst thing that could happen was that it would stay broken. Emperor Zalthek was quiet for a long time, thinking about everything he had seen. Finally, he turned to Jake with an expression that might have been a smile. Jake Miller of the human species, the Emperor said formally. You have saved the life of my personal ambassador and delivered critical medicine to my people. More than that, you have shown us new ways to think about our own technology. Such service cannot go unrewarded. Jake felt excited and nervous at the same time. What kind of reward would an alien emperor give to a human engineer? Emperor Zalthek reached into his robes and pulled out a small device. It was about the size of Jake's phone, but it looked like it was made of crystal and starlight. The device glowed softly with blue and silver light that seemed to move inside, it like water. This is a memory crystal of the Zephyrian Empire, the Emperor said, holding the device carefully. It contains the complete history of our people, going back millions of years. Our science, our culture, our greatest achievements, all are stored within this crystal. Jake looked at the beautiful device. It was clearly valuable and important, but he felt a little disappointed. He had been hoping for something more practical, like advanced tools or maybe some alien technology he could use to help the mining station. Thank you, Your Majesty, Jake said politely. It's beautiful. The Emperor's scales shifted to a deeper gold color. You do not understand the significance of this gift. This memory crystal is given only to the greatest heroes of our empire. In 3,000 years, only 12 beings have received this honor. Lisa stepped forward. Your Majesty, we are honored by your gift. Jake will treasure it always. There is more, the Emperor said. Jake Miller, you are hereby named a friend of the Empire. Your mining station will be under Imperial protection. Any who harm you or your people will answer to me personally. The 200 humans in the docking bay murmured excitedly. Protection from the Zephyrian Empire was worth more than money. No pirates or raiders would dare attack a station under Imperial protection. And finally, the Emperor continued, I extend an invitation to visit our capital world. You would be welcome in the Imperial Palace as an honored guest. After more formal words and ceremonies, the Emperor and his guards returned to their ship. The massive fleet departed, leaving the mining station feeling very empty and quiet. Jake sat in his workshop looking at the memory crystal. It was beautiful, but human technology couldn't read Zephyrian data storage. The crystal might contain the greatest knowledge in the galaxy, but to Jake it was just a pretty decoration. At least we're safe now, Tony said, trying to cheer up his friend. Imperial protection is nothing to sneeze at. I know, Jake said, and I'm grateful. It's just, I was hoping for something I could actually use, you know? Jake set the crystal down on his workbench and went back to fixing a broken air recycler. But as he reached for his tools, his hand accidentally knocked over the crystal. When he caught it, something strange happened. The crystal suddenly became warm in his hands, and Jake felt a tingling sensation in his fingers. The workshop around him seemed to fade away, and for a moment he saw something else entirely. He was standing in a vast laboratory filled with alien scientists working on incredible machines. He could understand their words, even though they were speaking in an alien language. More than that, he could understand their work. Complex equations and engineering principles flowed through his mind, as if he had studied them for years. The vision lasted only a few seconds. Then Jake was back in his workshop, staring at the crystal in amazement. "What just happened?" he whispered. Jake experimented carefully with the crystal. Every time he held it and concentrated, he could access different memories stored inside. He saw alien cities, starships, and technologies that were beyond human imagination. But more importantly, he began to understand how they worked. The crystal wasn't just a storage device. It was an interface that allowed him to experience the memories and knowledge of thousands of alien scientists and engineers. Their expertise became his expertise. Their understanding became his understanding. Over the next few days, Jake spent hours learning from the crystal. He discovered principles of physics that humans hadn't figured out yet. He learned about energy systems that could power entire worlds. He saw designs for ships that could travel between galaxies. But the most shocking discovery came when Jake accessed the deepest, oldest memories in the crystal. Hidden in the ancient records was information that changed everything he thought he knew about humanity. According to the records, humans and Zephyrians had once been the same species. Millions of years ago, an ancient civilization had spread across the galaxy. But something had happened. A great disaster that scattered them to different worlds. The humans on Earth were descendants of colonists who had been cut off from the rest of the civilization. Over millions of years, they had evolved differently, developing their own culture and technology. But deep down, they still shared the same basic nature as the Zephyrians. That was why Jake had been able to understand and improve Zephyrian technology so easily. It wasn't just human cleverness. It was genetic memory, an inherited understanding that had been sleeping in human DNA for millions of years. The crystal contained star maps showing the locations of other human colonies throughout the galaxy. Most of them had been lost and forgotten, their inhabitants probably thinking they were alone in the universe, just like the humans on Earth. Jake sat in his workshop, staring at the star maps floating in the air above the crystal. There were dozens of human worlds out there waiting to be found. Some were close enough to reach with current human technology. Others were so far away that it would take generations to get there. "Tony," Jake called out, "can you ask Lisa to come here? I need to show both of you something important." When Lisa and Tony arrived, Jake activated the crystal and showed them what he had discovered. The star maps, the shared history, the lost human colonies. It was all too amazing to believe. "Are you sure about this?" Lisa asked, staring at the floating images. "The crystal doesn't lie," Jake said. "Emperor Zalthek must have known. That's why he gave this to me. He knew I would be able to access the deep memories because I'm genetically compatible. So we're not alone," Tony said slowly. "There are other humans out there." "Lots of them," Jake said. "And now we know where to find them." Lisa was quiet for a long time, thinking about the implications. Finally, she spoke. "This changes everything. We need to contact Earth immediately. The government needs to know about this." Jake nodded, but he was thinking about something else. The crystal had shown him more than just star maps and history. It had given him knowledge about advanced technology, engineering principles that could transform human civilization. He now understood how to build ships that could travel faster than light. He knew how to create energy sources that would never run out. He had access to medical knowledge that could cure diseases and extend human life. The simple act of fixing a broken alien ship had given him the keys to transform humanity's future. But with such knowledge came responsibility. How do you share information that could change the entire galaxy? Jake looked at the memory crystal glowing softly on his workbench. Emperor Zalthek had given him more than a reward. He had given him the power to reunite the scattered children of an ancient civilization. The question now was what to do with that power. Jake spent 3 days thinking about what to do with the knowledge from the memory crystal. He could hardly sleep. knowing that he held the secrets to technologies that could change everything for humanity. On the fourth day, he made his decision. He called Lisa and Tony to his workshop and showed them what he had learned. "I can build us a faster-than-light communication system," Jake said, pointing to blueprints he had drawn based on the crystal's knowledge. "We can contact Earth instantly instead of waiting months for radio signals to travel through space." "How long would it take?" Lisa asked. 2 weeks, maybe 3, Jake said. "I'll need help from everyone on the station, and we'll have to use parts from almost every machine we have." Tony looked worried. "What if it doesn't work? We'll have torn apart our entire station for nothing." "It will work," Jake said with confidence. "The crystal has shown me exactly how to build it." The next 2 weeks were the busiest in the station's history. Jake directed the entire crew in building the communication device. Miners became construction workers, cooks became electronics specialists, and everyone contributed whatever skills they had. Jake found that the knowledge from the crystal was changing him. He could see solutions to problems that would have puzzled him before. His understanding of physics and engineering had expanded far beyond what any human had ever achieved. When the communication device was finally complete, it looked like a strange mixture of human and alien technology. Crystals from the mining, equipment glowed next to electronic circuits. Biological computers grown from samples of Veltar's ship worked alongside human processors. "Ready?" Jake asked, his hand hovering over the activation switch. Lisa and Tony nodded. The entire crew had gathered to watch this historic moment. Jake flipped the switch and the device hummed to life. Lights danced across its surface and the crystals began to glow brighter. Then, suddenly, a holographic image appeared in the air above the machine. It was Admiral Peterson, head of Earth Space Command, sitting in his office on the other side of the galaxy. He looked very surprised to see Jake's face appear on his communication screen. "Kepler 7 station?" the Admiral said. "How are you calling me? This connection is impossible with our current technology." "Admiral, we need to talk," Jake said. "We've made contact with aliens, and we've discovered something incredible about humanity's origins." Jake spent the next hour explaining everything that had happened. The alien ship, Emperor Zalthek, the memory crystal, and the discovery that humans were scattered across the galaxy millions of years ago. Admiral Peterson listened without interrupting, his expression growing more amazed with each detail. When Jake finished, the Admiral was quiet for a long time. "Jake," the Admiral finally said, "if what you're telling me is true, this is the most important discovery in human history. I'm sending a fleet to your location immediately." "There's more," Jake said. "I can build ships that travel faster than light. I can create energy sources that will never run out. The crystal has given me access to millions of years of advanced knowledge." Within a month, Kepler 7 had been transformed from a small mining station into the most important location in human space. Ships arrived daily from Earth, bringing scientists, diplomats, and engineers who wanted to study Jake's discoveries. Jake found himself at the center of a new age for humanity. Using knowledge from the memory crystal, he helped design ships that could reach the lost human colonies. He created new technologies that made life better for everyone. But the most important moment came when Emperor Zalthek returned to Kepler 7, this time for a very different reason. "Jake Miller," the Emperor said, "I have received reports of your discoveries. You have accessed the deepest memories in the crystal, something we did not think was possible for any being other than the original creators. I understand now why you gave me the crystal," Jake said. "You knew I would find the truth about our shared past." The Emperor's scales shifted to a warm gold color. "Our scientists suspected the connection, but we could never prove it. The fact that you could access those ancient memories confirms what we hoped. Humans and Zephyrians are family, separated by time and space, but still connected." "What does this mean for our peoples?" Jake asked. "It means the beginning of a new age," the Emperor said. "The Zephyrian Empire will help humanity find and reunite with the lost colonies. Together we will explore the galaxy and discover what happened to our ancestors." Jake was given a new title by both Emperor Zalthek and Earth's government. Bridge builder, the being who reconnected two branches of an ancient family tree. Kepler-7 was no longer a mining station. It became the first joint human-Zephyrian research facility, where scientists from both species worked together to unlock the secrets of their shared heritage. Lisa was promoted to director of the facility, overseeing hundreds of researchers and diplomats. Tony became the head of the engineering department, learning to combine human practicality with Zephyrian advanced technology. But Jake's greatest achievement was yet to come. Using the knowledge from the memory crystal, he designed a new type of ship that could travel incredible distances in short periods of time. The ship combined human engineering principles with Zephyrian technology, creating something better than either species could have built alone. The ship was called the Unity, and its mission was to find the lost human colonies scattered across the galaxy. Jake stood on the bridge of the Unity, looking out at the stars. The memory crystal sat in a special housing nearby, its gentle glow providing light for the navigation systems. Next to him stood Veltar, who had volunteered to help with the mission. "Are you ready?" Veltar asked. Jake nodded and gave the order to engage the engines. The Unity leaped forward, traveling faster than light toward the first of the lost human worlds. As they flew through space, Jake thought about how much had changed since that day when he first found Veltar's broken ship. He had been a simple engineer who fixed broken machines. Now he was leading humanity into a new age of exploration and discovery. The memory crystal had shown him that there were dozens of human colonies waiting to be found. Some had probably developed their own advanced technologies. Others might still be primitive. A few might have forgotten that they were originally from Earth, but they were all family, children of the same ancient civilization that had once spanned the galaxy. And now, thanks to a broken ship and a human who knew how to fix things, they would be family again. Jake smiled as the Unity raced toward the first lost world. He had always been good at fixing broken things. Now he was fixing something that had been broken for millions of years, the unity of the human species. The stars ahead seemed to welcome them, as if the galaxy itself was happy to see its scattered children finally coming home. Behind them, Kepler-7 continued to grow, becoming a symbol of cooperation between species and proof that sometimes the most important discoveries come from the simple act of helping someone in need. Jake Miller, the engineer who fixed a royal starship, had given humanity its greatest gift, the knowledge that they were never truly alone in the vast darkness of space.